Hello and welcome back to another episode of Nick Tiffany's Movie Reviews in the podcast form. Today we come to you with Sisu, our Finnish gold prospector in the Lapland wilderness, who's taken on Nazi soldiers and a brutal SS officer. This film is, I think, certainly riding on the tailcoats of John Wick and just the success of franchises that are honestly like, hey, we just want to watch good people kill bad guys in really ridiculous and kind of over-the-top gory ways. So this film, Sisu, is produced by Lionsgate, which is the same company who also produced John Wick. Sisu is, kind of actually based on a true story. There was a Finnish military sniper in World War II named Simo Häyhä, referred to his nickname as the White Death, who was just a menace and then some to the Soviet Union, believed to have killed over 500 enemy soldiers during the Winter War, the highest number of any sniper kill in any major war. People regard him as the deadliest sniper of all time. This film was loosely based around this man. Who we're following, our character Sisu. He's not a sniper. He was in the war. He fought in the Finnish army, but he said, I've lost my family, I've lost everything, and I'm just going to be a gold prospector. And so where we find him at the start of the film is he's far away from any war and any battle, despite the fact that the war is kind of coming to an end. Finland and Russia had reached an agreement, but Finland kind of has to push out the remaining Nazi troops, who now have just gone completely scorched earth, burning everything in their paths. So our character, whose real name is Aatami, played by Jorma Tamila, I hope I didn't botch that Finnish name. He finds gold, and he's just trying to get home. He's trying to get somewhere. But of course, he happens to pass a Nazi death camp or a Nazi death group on his travels, who for the moment let him pass, but know he's going to encounter trouble just up the road. And of course, once someone discovers the fact that he's carrying tons of gold with him, well, they're going to want to take it, of course. And that essentially, this isn't too deep of a movie. It doesn't ever get too complex. It really is just they picked the wrong guy to screw around with, and he's going to make you pay for it. Director Jalmari Helander is also the same gentleman who wrote this film. And it really kind of plays out almost like a blend of a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's got breakdowns of the chapters, chapter 1, the gold, chapter 2, the Nazis, chapter 3, and so forth. But really, it is just a story of resilience. This is he a myth style man who just refuses to die and will hunt you down under any circumstance. The movie is hardly an hour and a half, so it all goes by pretty quick. There's not a ton that you can't imagine that's going to happen. You've actually got a pretty great SS commander played by Axel Hennie, who played Alex in The Martian. He was in the Cloverfield Paradox. I'm sure you would recognize his face. Weirdly, I almost thought he was like a brother or cousin of Mads Mikkelsen at one point. He's just got this look about him that can be deeply terrifying sometimes. But he chose to mess with the wrong guy. It's just it's not good. And I almost wish, kind of like with Cocaine Bear, that this film gave the characters a little bit more room to just play around. Because really, there's far less of a story here than there was with Cocaine Bear. This one is pretty by the numbers, pretty self-explanatory. It's just survival and revenge. And along the way, we can kind of get creative with some kills. I was just kind of thinking there might be a little bit more action in this movie, especially for the brief runtime that it has. Having seen John Wick 4, which was like almost 3 hours of nonstop action choreography and crazy fight scenes, I could have used a little bit more of that from Sisu. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it, and there was some awesome action in there. It's quite funny at a couple bits, but it was kind of missing something that just really took it to the next level. Whether it's absurdity, whether it's just the choreography and some of the action set pieces. I just felt like there was a little something missing in terms of really turning this into like a huge success. And one of those movies that it's like, dude, this is like Finnish John Wick killing Nazis. I mean, that's kind of what it was sold as, and that's not entirely untrue. But you're also kind of like, all right, this guy's a little older than John Wick probably, so maybe it makes sense that he's not jumping around, tumbling around, stabbing, jabbing, shooting him up in a billion different ways. But I kind of kept hoping that the energy and the pacing would ramp up a little bit. And again, I wasn't expecting too much from this film, just as far as, it trying to do something totally artsy or totally different for a war movie. It's got some kind of James Bond fantastical elements as far as, kind of your getting funny with killing people as well. And it's shocking, but it's also kind of hilarious, and so there is a good bit of that. And you definitely get some tough moments with, I will say, if you are sensitive to certain methods of killing, the Nazis obviously were brutal and pretty horrific. And so, there's lots of hanging that goes on and lots of kind of unsettling imagery like that, which, obviously makes sense in the movie, but that's just more of a, if you're going into this, expect to see some kind of messed up stuff as well. But then, but even in that same vein, I guess I thought in some ways there would be a little bit more on like that, we're just going to shoot you ridiculously 10 times, or, there's going to be some chain reaction and this boulder is going to crush you, or I don't know what I guess I totally was expecting from this film, but it was good. I unfortunately, I don't think you have to go see this in the movie theater. Once it hits streaming, that's going to be a perfect little movie night, quick hour and a half. Everyone's going to enjoy it. It's not going to be a bad time or time wasted. I will tell you that. It is enjoyable, and it certainly gets the job done for as quick as it is. I just wanted a little bit more. And maybe I'm selfish. I'm always the person who's asking for like 30 more minutes in a movie, because I'm like, no, I'm with it. I'm with these ideas. I want you to flesh it out even more. I want to build a little more understanding of the character, or like really put some really cool set pieces in there. But again, I didn't make the movie, so I can only give you my thoughts. But Sisu, it's a good time. I wish it were more, but any less would have been actually tragic. So what we got is just fine. Wait for the stream and see it then. Until then, maybe you go catch Guardians in theaters, because that's one I've yet to see it, but I'm sure that everything I've read, that's going to live up to some expectations and will certainly deliver something worthy of truly going to the cinema for. Not that this wasn't, but the older I get, the more I understand how few movies people do go see, and what it really takes to get them out to see them. So I'm just here trying to save you time and money, guys. Thanks again as always for listening, and we'll see you for the next one.